The parable of the redemption of Zion can be divided into three parts. Verses 43 through 50 of section 101 describe the building up of the nobleman's vineyard. This is representative of the building up of Zion. The enterprise fails due to the slothfulness of the Lord of the vineyard servants, and the enemy destroys the vineyard. This can be called the destruction of Zion, or the chastisement of Zion. The rest of the parable describes the selection of a faithful servant who, under the direction of the nobleman and the assistance of the warriors and servants of the house, defeat the enemy and restore the vineyard to its owner. This reflects the redemption of Zion. We know that the faithful servant is Joseph Smith. The nobleman, or Lord of the vineyard, of course, is Jesus Christ. The Lord made it quite clear in Revelations prior to the parable that the vineyard is His. Describing the Lord of the vineyard as a nobleman, royalty, is an apt analogy for the Savior, who is a king. The vineyard has been repeatedly identified as the earth and its inhabitants. Zion is to be built upon the earth. The servants of the Lord of the vineyard are the servants of Jesus Christ, meaning the members of His church. Among the servants of the nobleman, there are to be watchmen, ready to warn of the approach of the enemy. In the church, the Lord appoints certain members as watchmen to watch over the church. Generally speaking, it is the duty of the elders assisted by the Aaronic priesthood to be the watchmen. With the players of the parable identified, the narrative can now be readily interpreted. In the first two verses of the parable, the nobleman desires to build up his very choice piece of land and turn it into an olive vineyard. He commands his servants to plant 12 olive trees, build a tower, and set a watchman on it to guard against the enemy. Roughly translated using the identifications, these verses mean the following. The Lord of the vineyard, Jesus Christ, desires to build up a piece of land in the vineyard, the earth. He outlines a specific plan the servants, members of the church, are to follow. The plan for building up the vineyard in the parable symbolically represents the plan for building up Zion in the real world of Joseph Smith's time. The particulars, of course, do not match. The saints were not commanded to plant olive trees in Ohio or Missouri, nor were they commanded to build a tower or hedge. But the Lord did have a specific plan, and He communicated it in detail to the saints before the parable was given. From the very beginning of the dispensation, even before the organization of the church, the Lord made it clear that building Zion was a priority. He informed Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery of His intent while they translated the Book of Mormon in April of 1829. This priority was often repeated throughout the subsequent revelations, where the Lord used the exact wording to express His will. The first phase of the plan was to build up the membership of the church. Before anything else could be done, there must be servants. The first commandments for the building up of Zion concerned missionary work. He called it pruning my vineyard. Pruning generally is the removal of unwanted parts of plants. Pruning is preferred for a variety of reasons, including maintaining the health of the plant, increasing yield and quality of flowers and fruits, and the directing or shaping of growth. However, the sense of pruning as used by the Lord is one of harvesting. To prune the vineyard is synonymous with harvesting a field of grain. Missionaries are to preach the gospel throughout the world, the vineyard, and gather the saints to the holy places of Zion.